And we are live. Hello, everyone, and happy Sunday. Oh, my goodness. I don't know about you, but I am excited about today. I am thrilled to be here with you and also excited about the guest that we have joining us today. You know the drill. For those of you who are our consistent Real Talk viewers, drop in and let us know where you are joining us from today. Here is what's lovely. We already have Canada in the house, Jamaica in the house, Idaho in the house. Very specific. Those in Jamaica want to be defined. Montego Bay, Kingston. I don't know where you're joining from. But what's beautiful is that distance does not separate us. There are those of us who are connected by our hearts, our minds, and our soul. And it's really beautiful to have us all come into this space. For those of you who are new here, let me tell you a little bit about Real Talk. First and foremost, officially, it's happy anniversary, Real Talk. The second anniversary of Real Talk. It's real. And this is the project that I would say to anyone, whatever it is that you desire to do, that you are holding yourself back from doing because you are doing it afraid. This is the classic case of just that. This is the girl who 2 years ago was as nervous as ever, knees knocking, teeth chattering, thinking that I was unable to host any form of live. It just never felt authentic to me. I'd be comfortable speaking on stage, doing it face to face, but the whole notion of going live really didn't feel real. And being authentic is a very key value of mine. Fast forward, here we are. It's the second anniversary of Real Talk with Marsha-Ann. And we've done multiple episodes and have impacted on countries all over. And so today is no different. Real Talk is a space where we believe that we talk to real people with real life stories. And what's important is that it's a space where we engage, encourage, and empower one another to ensure that we overcome our limits, own our greatness, and transform our lives to one of purpose, passion, and prosperity. So, with that in mind, it really behooves me to tell you a little bit about our guest of this evening. And I want you to give her a big round of applause. Drop in, give me all of the greetings that you want to extend to her, because here is what we know. Just before coming on, we absolutely had a little bit of snag and a little bit of technical difficulties, and we have proven in the Real Talk community that wherever we have snags, wherever we have resistance, it really means that we're birthing something great. I have magnanimous expectations out of this episode, and she's gonna roll her eyes and say, why this lady putting me under so much pressure? But that's because I know she's beyond able to deliver. And I can forewarn you, yes, Amy, drop the fire in there. I can forewarn you that we'll have another episode coming your way in the other season. So, hey there from North Carolina. Listen, we've got the United Nations amongst us, right? We're all one blended family. And what I do want to share is this. As I'm getting ready to bring her on, she's not one to ask for a bio to be read. Instead, she would describe herself best as a proud wife and mother, a lifelong learner. I will tell you this, write it down. Make sure you say Tamar. It's not with an A, it's Tamar. That's her distinguishing name, and she'll put you straight too if you say otherwise. But for me, I consider her a motivator. I consider her one that inspires. She's very results driven, a straight shooter. So if you want the truth, you're going to get it from her like an arrow. She subscribes to the notion that a lot of us subscribe to, and that is we're stronger together. She's an advocate, in my mind, and she is one to push you to that next level. I will tell you this categorically, that without a doubt, a big part of the revival of Real Talk, she was one of those, as some of you on here have been, and she draped me up properly and said, it's time you start again. And so, without any further ado, I am bringing on stage to a grand drum roll, coming to you live from Kingston, Jamaica. Give me a T, give me an A, give me an M, give me an A, give me an R, and stop right there abruptly. Welcome, Tamar McKenzie. Hello, Tamar, and let me...
I'm dying. I'm on the floor. Thank you for having me. It's such an honor because I watch your show. I know you. I know what you expect. So I'm really going to do my best.
And that's all we need. Here is the beauty about Real Talk. One thing that we subscribe to is nothing is ever scripted. Everything is really organic. And most importantly, everything is authentic. Mm-hmm. So when our thoughts come from our heart and just simply flows through us, we have prayed already for everything to go well. We have already prayed for those who need to really hear this episode, if not live, catching the replay. But most importantly, we want you to pour out to us. So I spoke about you as a straight shooter. I spoke about you as an advocate, because that's how I see you. I spoke about you as someone who sees greatness in others and have the ability, the innate ability to extract that out of them. I also see you as a nurturer, regardless of the age, but one who can get you firm-fisted and back whip you in shape without even saying more than 2 or 3 words. And so with that in mind, the topic that we have for you is that your past does not define you. And I want you to unpack that for me. And I ask you to unpack that with the basis that a lot of us in life tend to look through our rearview mirror for such an extended period. And we look back and we think about all the things that if I coulda, woulda, shoulda, all the things that may have happened along life's journey. And we don't look ahead enough. We don't face the highway enough. We don't look at the road ahead, appreciating that our past really, regardless of what that past is, can be a G-force to propel us into a bigger, brighter, stronger future, and use the pillars of our past to propel us. Help to unpack for us, your past does not define you. Talk to us.
So I'll start here. I have grown to this stage, and I'm going to say grown because it has taken a lot of time and a lot of work for me to get here, where I accept that everybody is doing the best that they can at that time, whatever it is that they're doing. And even if it's a negative experience, I let it go. And anybody who knows me know I'm going to tell you exactly how I feel about something, and it's done. I'm over it, and we move on immediately. I'm not carrying it. And that's really because a lot of the decisions that we make, whether they're good decisions or bad decisions, we tend to hold ourselves hostage to the poor thinking, the poor choices, not realizing that it's really us doing our best. And a lot of the things that hold us back, we fail to remember that it's because we were going through sometimes difficult storms. And that situation may not have been the storm. That situation may have just been us manifesting where we were, whether it is exhaustion, pain, disappointment, many different things, and we responded. And instead of giving ourselves that sort of grace we tend to fight ourselves, or it plays back in our minds and we keep thinking about it. Instead of grabbing it, moving on, and just trying to be better and keep running with it. And that's one of the things that I think as just people, we need to quickly snap out of our mistakes and just keep running, because that time that we spend festering over it and doing the postmortems and all of that, we're losing time to achieve, time to recover, time to make ourselves proud, and just time to grow. And a lot of the poor decisions that we make, it doesn't come through opportunities. It really comes through going through it, recovering, moving on, and letting it go. And I think it's just something that we have to just work at. It's something that I think I've gotten better at, just letting things go and just keep going and hoping that I get it right. And if I don't, I just keep going. I just keep going, because if we keep thinking about what we did, if you wake up and think about what other people think about you, and other people don't like you, or you're this, or what do you really achieve?
Nothing.
Because you're walking with so much and it holds you back. And I'm just not going to hold myself back or miss something to come because of what I didn't do. Because then I'm in neutral. I'm just nowhere. I'm not fixing that situation. I can't go back. And I'm definitely not accessing anything that is in front of me.
Wow, that gear of neutral is so well aligned to the analogy of really being stuck with that rear view mirror. And if we're on this highway called life, we have to change gears,
You
right?
just it was raining heavily when I came into Kingston on Thursday. And I think you're one of the people who texted me and said you did not drive in that rain. But here's the thing, and I told my husband when I was coming in, he said to me, "Why didn't you pull over? It was raining." And I said to him, I felt more comfortable just going. I felt safer just going as best as I could have gone instead of pulling over. So some people, maybe they would have pulled over, and that's fine. But I think when the hardship comes, when the fog is there, when we can't see, we don't know, just keep moving, just maintain those routines. And I think it's one of the things that I've learned early, like very early. My father always said to me, you don't have to be good at anything. You don't even have to be exceptional. But if you want to be successful, you have to show up with the little things consistently, like all the time. So what can you do? What can I do? I can be early. I can be clean. I don't have to have the best clothes, but I can be clean with what I have. I can be organized. I can be polite. There are certain things that really takes no effort at all. It's just a no-brainer. Work with that. Do it consistently. And that alone will get you somewhere. That alone will get you started.
It's really about the small, significant things that are within our control. And sometimes we major in the minors, right? Or then sometimes we take on these big thoughts within our minds that's not within our control, and we feel like we need to change that. That's pretty powerful to be able to extract the small things, because if we do the small things consistently, a big part of our success is built on confidence, and confidence comes with repetition, routine, practice, and provision, right?
And I want to just slip in there. Success comes from consistency. So from consistency, we learn. When you're consistent at something, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to fail. It's just like with public speaking. You're going to mess up. You're going to say rubbish. You're even going to miss the point. But if you stick at it, you keep learning from those mistakes that you really only can make by doing.
Right.
And it is through recovering from those mistakes, learning and going through it, that you become better. You don't get better by hoping to become a good public speaker. You get 0 points for thinking about it every day or thinking about what it could have been. You're nowhere for that. But show up and just do the very best that you can do. I think that's just impressive. I'm not, when I look at what I do and I look at my peers, I'm not the smartest at what I do by far. I'm not, and I would never say I'm the best at what I do, because I'm not. Many people will say that, or they'll say, you know, Tamar, you're very impressive. I've never met someone like you. But I never waited to hear that to keep doing it. I kept doing it when no one was clapping. I kept doing it when it didn't make sense for me to do it. When, to be honest, everybody kept calling it my little teaching thing. How is the little teaching thing going? How is the little this going? And I treated it like it was a big thing, like it was the best thing, because it was the only thing that I had that was, one, mine, and two, was what I honestly believed in. And I did it. And then it came. And I think the greatest lesson I've learned from just being consistent is that you get to the stage where even the people who boo you are forced to clap for you. They're forced to open doors for you. And it comes through sheer consistency and doing your best.
It's too early to drop the mic.
We're
You
nowhere.
said, you said a lot a while ago. I particularly want you to know that for those who have no idea what your it was, your little thing,
My little teaching thing.
your little teaching thing,
Yeah.
I want you to explain the fire that you had in your soul for your teaching thing. I want you to explain, because that fire is going to ignite someone else who has perhaps put their own flame out because they're waiting on someone to clap or waiting on someone to endorse their little thing, because everybody has a thing,
Thing, a little thing.
a little
You
thing.
invest in, you believe in, and it becomes the biggest thing. You just knock it out and you create your own space. You carve your own space.
Talk about that. Talk about that.
My little thing was, I'll start here. Everybody who knows me, I think the best compliment I got recently, one of my students sat on a stage. Hi, Dimitri, I know you're out there watching. And he said, this lady, she changes, she's the one who changes average to amazing, something to that effect. He said, everywhere she goes. And I thought it was a huge compliment, because when someone who has access to you or can see you, see your children, see your marriage, especially at that age where the only thing they know how to do is to speak the truth, say something like that, I really felt it, and it really pushed me to keep going. So I'll start there. My mantra for this life is changing average to amazing. And that's because I came from nothing. I came from below average. And I was an average student there. On surface, if I'm to be honest, there's nothing exceptional about me. There's nothing outstanding about me. There's nothing that would make you pick me for anything. I'm okay. I'm the okay person. And I decided very, very early that I'm not going to be okay. I'm not going to be an okay person. I'm not going to be an okay mother. I'm not going to be an okay wife. I'm not going to be an okay educator. There's nothing that I'm going to just be. I'm never just going to just be there. I'm going to put my best foot forward all the time. And everything I do, I'm going to take it so seriously, you're going to think I'm over prepared. So you invite me to your show, everything is set. I'm ready to go. I'm going to show up, because when you ask me to do something, this is my standard. And so I wasn't able to afford sixth form, from personal finances, or it just wasn't, it wasn't a normal climb. And university was the same thing. It wasn't a normal climb. And so I had to hustle. And I've been hustling ever since. And I started tutoring kids GCAT. I started on my mother's veranda with someone's child from church. She thought I was smart. And she thought, I don't know how I ended up helping her daughter one day. And she asked me to do it. And she was the first person who said, I'll pay you to do it. She said you shouldn't work for free. I was 15. And ever since then, I've been teaching, I've been in education, I've been doing different things in that space. And people used to jeer me a lot because that moved into me walking to work after school. So I finished school and I would walk to work to teach. It wasn't that far, it would take me probably 20 minutes to get there, but it was a good walk. Now imagine I'm going to school, I'm not going to call the name of the school.
Right.
I'm going to, because I don't know where this conversation is going to lead, and I'm going to be honest. I promise you I've been honest. So I am in the Golden Triangle of Kingston, going to a very prominent high school in my uniform, walking to work. And I remember a friend of mine slowed down. His driver had picked him up. And he rolled his window down and he said, Tamar, where are you going? So I'm excited, I'm proud, I'm going to work. And he said, why are you working after school? I could give you lunch money, you know. And I crumbled. And I think that was the first time I realized that what I was doing wasn't necessarily something that anybody else would have been happy for me for. And I think that's the first time I started to hide that I had to work to self finance. Anyway, I went to work, did my thing, and from there, teaching in my uniform, I became Auntie Tamar. Thanks to another very important Marsha in my life. So always, so I had a Marsha Dunbar Green, and she was a parent who really believed in me. I think she really pushed some strong values in me, which I needed at that stage. And she believed in me, and she said, she stood up in the class, her daughter was doing GSAT, and she said, you're not going to call her Tamar. This is not right. Stop it. And she said, she came up to me and she said, nobody calls you Tamar. She said, we're going to call you Auntie Tamar. And so I tutored, sent myself to school, and my tutoring thing started. And I mean, people would say the strangest things. And regardless of how much you may grow materially, and I was growing fast. My acquisitions were, I mean, I was growing, I was moving, money was being made, and it was showing, at least for me, I thought.
Right.
But then in every room I stepped in with anyone I went to school with who was probably a doctor or an attorney, it always came down to how is your little tutoring thing going? How is that little teaching thing going? And I mean, I struggled with that for a little bit, but then I let it go because that was the only thing I wanted. However small, insignificant it was to teach somebody, that was what I wanted. And it just kept growing as I grew. So my
Wow.
teaching thing, I mean, I'm still doing my little teaching thing.
Now let's. It is so important, though, Tamar. You've said a few things here, but here is what's important. You said that Marsha believed in you, and how often along life's journey that when we have that thing, that idea, that concept, that fire, that passion within us, that there are others who would come along and like, what's that little thing? How is that thing going? In such a condescending fashion that human nature, if you are not careful, you could crumble to even demean and diminish the greatness that is assigned to that thing.
Mhm.
And all we need sometimes, even the strongest of beings, sometimes it just takes that one person to give you that boost, to believe in you. Because those who have vision, you did not just see yourself as a 15-year-old student who had this incredible ability to share knowledge, to coach, to pass on knowledge, but that gave you the exposure to having a population of students who have gone through your hands and have continued to go through your hands. And I wonder where those who have said, what about that little thing?
Oh, they're still saying it. Trust me, people are like that. But here's the thing.
Doesn't
And
matter.
I'll touch something on the belief side, which is something I'm grateful that I've always had. I know who I am. I know what I'm about. I know what I'm good at. I know what I'm not good at. And if you don't like me, I'm good with that. And I am going to show up as myself in everything. If you say something to me, you're going to get my honest reaction. And I think the beauty in that, in being honest consistently and just being, I want to say, raw and unfiltered with how you feel, you allow people to share and engage in a real way. So belief comes in or encouragement comes in a way that is constructive if you are honest enough to be open and share. So had I not throughout my journey openly shared that I was losing it, having meltdowns, feeling inadequate, struggling with different things, then the people around me really wouldn't have been able to mentor me. They would have just been dealing with me at a surface. But because I really shared, I remember going to university full time, working full time, chimed out, gave up, deregistered, and went in and just told them I can't do this. I'm losing my mind. It's just too much. And guess what? I'm 19, but I have a car loan, I have bills, I have rent to pay, and so work takes priority. So school is going to have to wait. Had I not done that, then the person that I was sharing with couldn't have said to me, "Come on, Tamara, you can do it this way, do summer school, do this, but we can't figure it out. I don't want to lose you. I know you can do it." If I just went in and said, "I'm just going to deregister or something," that wouldn't have created the space for that, right? And if while I was probably teaching, I wasn't real, then those parents who would have believed in me as a child to teach their children, they wouldn't have been able to tap me on the shoulder and say, "Listen, keep going. You may not be as experienced as the other teachers, but you're gonna get the results. You're gonna do well. You're gonna be okay. Just keep going." However short, however small, however simple it was, it did something because it was fuel and I kept moving. And that's the thing. You have to honestly show up.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that a lot of us, especially as women, we tend to like to charade as if everything is fine, and it really does not work, right? I know my personal battle of charading as if everything was fine with my health for 12 years. I mean, it was such a battle for me to show up as if I'm well, to show up as if I have no pain. But the moment I actually took that layer off of acting like Superwoman and acting like everything was fine, the moment I took that layer off, literally everything shifted. And that's what you're describing. That to
Freedom.
show up, yeah, to show up as our truest possible selves, without fear of judgment. What that's
I'm
what's
going to
important.
laugh. I'm going to feel it. And don't ask me what I think because I'm going to tell you. If you don't want to know, don't, because it's life is hard enough, I mean, why not show up as ourselves? I mean, that's what we're here for, to really experience each other and to really grow through those experiences. So why would we hold back, filter, or give ourselves any less than what we deserve, which is just our realness? We have to get to that point where we identify who we are. I was thinking while preparing to do this, I thought to myself that maybe the greatest achievement that I have made as a person is that I can be alone and not need anyone or not need to speak to anyone. And I'm good. I'm really good with me. And I think that's a really great spot to get to when you're not having those lingering thoughts or you're not lonely or grabbing at anything or anyone. So I can drive from Kingston to Montego Bay with my radio off and I'm good. I'm having a whale of a time with myself.
Right.
And I think we have to get to that stage where we're so understanding of our feelings, of our emotions, of everything, or even our past, and making peace with everything and just going with what we have. Not needing anything to be perfect, but just going with it and making the best of it, because that's it. That's an achievement.
That's a big achievement. That's a very big achievement because I believe that there are things that will complement us in life. There are things that we can add on to who we are. I oftentimes refer to ourselves as we're whole pizzas and everything else that comes along the way. They're
Happening.
toppings, but at no point should we be looking to be a three-quarters of a pizza and believing that our partner, our spouses can complete us, our jobs and our titles and our degrees can complete us. Truly, we've got to be so wholesome in being happy and content and fulfilled with who we are. And that's not something that comes overnight. Well, for me, it didn't. You
Work.
know, it really does take work, and it comes back to what you've said. It means glancing back long enough to know that all pieces of our past has put us together to where we are today, but begin to embrace the tapestry of our lives where we understand that every single stitch makes us stronger, better, having more grit, having more grace. And the things that we can't control, we're like, God, you, over to you.
And if I could say to anybody who is listening, right? Think about it like this. We seek out mentorship for professional reasons. We seek out mentorship for probably secular things. Going back to school, we may get a mentor when we're doing our master's or our PhD or something like that. But I think one of the things that we need to actively seek out is people who are solid people and surround ourselves with them to get some sort of support or mentorship, as it were, for our own self development. People who are comfortable in their skin, where there's no facade, you know, it's them. You may have a problem and you know they're so open about talking about their challenges and experiences, where you can, in the most unfiltered way, lay your challenges on the table and they're there to console you from experience. That's the space you need to get to, because the best thing you can do for yourself is not going back to school or getting a better job. The best thing you can do for yourself is to really get to know you, fix what you need to fix if it needs to be fixed. I think sometimes we get caught up in so many things that need to be fixed when we just need to embrace what we have, because this is as good as it gets, right? Like I tell myself that every day. The wrinkles in my forehead, this is the best it's going to be. It's going downhill from here. And just enjoy it, because when you're with people where you're really comfortable, it's almost like that really you starts to sing and dance because you're at home. But the problem is we don't seek out and fight for those connections, I think. I feel like some of us, we become intimidated and we hide from the realness, or if they're to call us out. But what a great privilege it is to really have people in our spaces who call us on our things, who force us to be better, who push us forward, even further than we dream that we can go. I think that's what we have to push. And when we get caught up with that type of space and energy, the ransom that our past will hold us, it just won't have space, because you'll be so busy committed to your own consistent growth. It won't be a new year thing. It won't be a style. It will be you. And then you will know who you are. I remember the other day somebody called me and they said to me, boy, Tamar, you look like, you're living that soft life. And I said to them, then you don't know me, because I don't want a soft life. I want it hard. I want to work for it. I'm not gonna sit down and live what kind of soft life. When I have so much in me to come out of me, no, I need to fight to push that out. I want to make an impact. I want to grow. I don't want to do what? Be soft. Be
Wow.
comfortable. What comes from comfort? Rest.
Certainly not both.
There's no goal that I want to achieve that I'm gonna achieve by resting or being soft. No, I worked for this life that I live, and I have to show up every day and work to keep it and to get better. That's what it's about, not relaxing. Why would I relax? I'm gonna have fun, but I'm gonna
Mhm.
work hard all the time. Nothing comes from being in a space of softness. And I'll tell you something, don't pay attention to social media, guys. Like, don't, it's not real. Today I was at Price Mart and I was telling you, you were telling me how I looked great. I said to you, you should have seen me earlier today. I look homeless. You should have seen me at Price Mart. One of my students stopped. I taught him such a long time ago, and he stopped and said, Miss, I haven't seen you in so long. Guess what's happening with me? And I thought, boy, I need to stop coming out of my house in jeans and a t-shirt. I need to do better. But the point is, guys, you will come and you will see us now, and we look like this. I don't look like this every day. I don't have time for this. I have two young children. I have a home to clean. I have things to do. So, but when you have something, you show up, right? I feel like a lot of people show up for social media, and that's fine because many people earn from it. But let's be real. Let's not package things that we ourselves don't have. Let's
Right.
not package or bundle a life that really doesn't exist and put people under pressure. I'm the
Mhm.
first person, and you've heard me say this a lot. I can't afford it. And it's not the money that it costs, it's what it comes with. So let me put it in real terms. I can't afford to sit down and let anyone or even me hold my past against me because my dreams are too big for my past to be a part of the equation. That part of the conversation has closed. And if you want to bring up something I've done 3 years ago, 2 years ago, we're not having that conversation. And that's when the Tamar without the age jump in, because I'm going to let you know, listen, you can't small up my dreams because of who I was then, because I've grown. And people who hold you prisoner to what you've done, the problem is they're there still. Because people who believe in growth and in the power of people, they're always going to give you the benefit, not of doubt, but of growth, right? I don't give people the benefit of the doubt. I'm never in doubt. I give you the benefit of growth, that you've grown through it and you're a better person. And I think that's something that we need to give ourselves the benefit of the growth to be better next time. Forget about the last time. What are you going to do about it? Nothing more than grow. You can't do nothing about it. You bought something, you wasted some money last month, your budget never went how you made it. Keep going. Next month is coming. Plan for the next payroll. Put in contingencies to protect yourself. But you don't sit down and weep and moan and what are you going to do? No, so I'm moving, and it's something that I think everybody needs to get to that stage where you fight for the potential in you and you don't sit on it. You're not a dumpling. I always hear my husband say, what is potential? That is like flour. It could be a dumpling, it could be a fritter, but if you don't do anything, you're just flour. You're there. You could have been something, but you're not. So don't sit on it. Don't sleep on your dreams. Don't sleep on the talents that you have. And like I say, I was never good at anything. I was just okay. And I made myself amazing by just being consistent with the little things and just working at it. And that's what we do. We just keep going.
My goodness. You know how many times I've seen here mic drop?
We soon out of time, so you have to ask me the questions before you tell me the time is up.
Yes. Yes. No, no, no. Like that was wow.
Thank
That
you.
was a big wow. Round of applause.
I keep
Um,
forgetting we're here because I feel like this is our regular conversations.
this
I feel
is,
like this is me and you just going at it.
yeah, wow. This is really so solid. Let me ask you a question. I would want to ask you to share with someone who believes that they are average. They are stuck in the neutral position, that they're average because of labels that they have had affixed to them, or self appointed labels, limiting beliefs, self sabotage, a past that has labeled them as average because of where they're from or where their family is from. And they need to hear you remind them, Tamar, that average may have been a part of your journey, but because purpose evolves, help them to understand what it takes beyond consistency to light the match to get to amazing. Help us to unpack that.
So the first thing I'm gonna say, and I've had to say this to my children when they started school, because when your kids go to school, I think you realize how terrible this world is. Or, when you're at a certain stage where you really don't interact with certain things, your kids force you to remember that it's still there or it's worse, right? I tell my kids this every day when they're going to school. You're not a fridge. Don't let anyone stick anything on you. So I'll tell you this first. Don't let people stick labels on you. You're not a fridge. Don't collect people's garbage. And a lot of times people like to dump garbage on you when it's really how they feel about themselves. And sometimes it's not even how they feel about themselves. Sometimes they see something in you and it may be threatening, and so they call it out from a space of insecurity and not necessarily out of a space of being constructive. So my rule is this: if I don't value you, you can't get into my head. If I don't look up to you as a person, it don't even matter what you're saying because I'm not hearing it. I'm not buying what you're selling because you can't criticize me when you don't embody or exemplify my ideal of success. And my ideal of success is not things, it's who you are at your core. I told somebody yesterday, it's something that I live by, and I want to start here because I want people to be careful of the value that you put on feedback. If you, across the spectrum of your life, you don't have stability or excellence, I'm not buying into you. So you could be the biggest executive. If your wife is not smiling when she's with you, I'm done. I'm not even interested. Like, you could be the biggest opportunity for me. Keep it. Bye. I don't want it because there's no way you can be successful at work, but at home you're in shambles. Your house is dirty. Your children are all over the place. It's just chaos. Where's the success? Where is that world-class leader? Where's the leadership? And so if you're not someone that I look up to, what you're saying don't matter. So the first thing is, you may have certain feelings that are misplaced because you've put too much value on the wrong people around you. So get your people in check. That's the first thing. Let the people who are in your space and in your head, people of value, real value. Not the people where you're seeing snippets of what they're doing. Let it be the people that you can see properly. The next thing is feelings of inadequacy come. I feel it all the time. I mean, there are many things I'm not good at. But guess what? I'm going to prepare. So you stay average from winging it. And it comes a stage in life when we don't fly by the seat of our pants for everything. We're not on the playground. When you're in the big leagues, you really have to dig down on what makes you world class. So one of my closest friends, she taught me that. What it means to be world class. What does it mean to be global? So many people want to talk about thinking global. But how do you play in that global space? How do you play on that platform? What do you come with? And so you have to establish what you come with. So I know as a person, if you ask me, if you say, Tamar, I need you to show up at X for an event, I'm going to show up. I'm not going to be the smartest in the room, you know. I'm not going to be the best dressed, but I'm going to put myself together and I'm going to research. So coming on your show, I looked at every episode you watched. I've been thinking about it all since the night you asked me. I've been thinking about what would I want to hear? What am I tired of hearing? What do I hear that I think everybody else is hearing that's just rubbish, but we endorse it? Soft life foolishness. Who have a soft life and they're living and breathing a life that they love? You can't. There's no way you can be fighting for something of value and want it easy. Then it's not valuable. And then you have to think about, okay, I showed up with the best that I had, the research, I prepared, I put myself together and I was there. But then I never took off. It never went as well as I wanted it to. So then you're going to double back and you're going to look at who was there who had something I wanted and how am I going to learn from them. So I'm not competing with you. I may look at you, Marsha-Ann, and I'll see somebody who is strong, who holds things down, and I'm going to find out what you have that I don't have, the empathy that you have, that strong bond with your kids that you have. And I'm going to come up to you and you know this. And I'm going to say, hey, how did you do that? Where did you come? What gave you that? And I'm going to listen intently and I'm going to copy and I'm going to learn and I'm going to pick up on that. So your strengths become my strengths. And my weaknesses, I'm going to seek out the help and I'm going to stay the course. And I'm going to show up every time. And every time you get a little bit better, that builds confidence. And every time you stay consistent, you claim your seat at that table. That seat becomes yours. Your name is now written in that chair. So even if it is a back seat, it's a seat. And then when people realize that they can count on you and they can count on what you come with, you start to move up. And the underdog always wins because people fight for the underdog, right? But then sometimes we count ourselves out without even trying. And that's what I have a problem with when we think things are unfair, when we did nothing, we didn't even enter, we never even tried. But then we have all of the feelings of entitlement when we lost a game that we weren't even playing in. So we need to decide, are we average because of where we're playing, how we're playing, who we're playing with? And we need to get ourselves together and come correct.
My word. Let me tell you, you are dropping what we call in our Real Talk community. These are more than nuggets. This is a whole TED Talk that could be fractioned in 5-minute segments. I have some very important questions for you.
Okay, I'm going to be short this time.
No, just pour because I am so eager to rewatch this episode. My 92-year-old mom is on here and she says real values, self-worth, consistency. Mom typed that out for you, you know, and she has a place in her heart for you. May I just add?
I know, and she has a big one in mind.
Yes. You are really helping. Well, I can tell you just based on comments, but I can also tell you for me, you are helping me to crack my next level of greatness. You are helping me to unfold my next level of being amazing because you are stoking a well-needed fire for me. And yeah, they're saying keep talking, keep talking. Don't hold back. Translation, preach. So, Tamar, help us. You've said a lot, and some of this you have shared in aspects of what you've shared, but I particularly want to be laser pointed with this question.
Mm-hmm.
And I want everyone to listen keenly, and I want you for yourself to write down this question that you may challenge yourself to. And I ask this to you, Tamar. What does living a life of purpose mean to you?
Wow, that's a big question. So I'm gonna sit up. My purpose to me is like breathing, right? So if I'm not doing it, I'm not breathing. I can't not do it. So the only thing I know is education. I told you this before. Some people think that the hardest thing or the best thing in life is identifying your purpose, right? Your why. Once you find your why, foolishness. Let me tell you something. The worst thing is knowing what you're supposed to do on this earth, figuring it out very early, and doing it every day. That's not a blessing, that's a curse. Let me tell you why. I'll tell you my experience because I've always known what I'm supposed to do on this earth. I'm supposed to be here to help children believe in themselves. That everything that tells you you cannot learn is rubbish, and you can learn, and you're made to win. And everything in school is supposed to be structured in such a way for you to win. So if your child is gifted and smart and perfect, don't send them to my school. I can't help you. If your child doesn't like going to school, doesn't like learning, they've been failing, they're not themselves anymore, I'm your guy. I am the person that you need. I know that. And I know that I'm going to connect with them and they're going to love coming to school. You're going to think it is strange. They're going to love coming to school because I was them and that was me. And so I take that personal. It is my life's work. I love it. But just as how we take breathing for granted, when you identify your purpose that early on, sometimes you take it for granted. And sometimes it when you take it for granted, you struggle with different feelings, not feelings of inadequacy, because you know you have it. I know I can do it. When I see people who are way more gifted, way more talented than me, I smile because guess what? You don't have the experience I have. I was that student who wasn't good, who was overlooked, who was never enough. I was never brown enough. My name never mattered. It was ordinary. I looked like I could have been somebody, but I wasn't. I was that person. So I know all of those. I know how to talk to my students without them saying a word. Sometimes we have conversations without me speaking to them. And it's as simple as opening a classroom door, touching them on the shoulder, giving them some sweetie. Simple as that. Sometimes it's just as simple as the shoes clean or something, just something to give them, to carry them through the day. But then the burden you face is the burden of not going hard enough, not extracting the value you know you have in you, not realizing those big dreams that you have. So I imagine certain things of what I want out of my work. And not doing it that way is crippling, it's frustrating, it's painful. Saturday morning, I went to bed at 2:30. I couldn't sleep because I had something so big that I knew I needed to achieve, and I could not sleep because I needed to figure it out, and it's painful. And then remember, this is my little teaching thing. That doesn't go. So don't think that because you're strong, that goes. It doesn't go, but you learn how to manage it. So purpose is something that one, you have to identify it. You have to make peace with it, even if it is not something that is life critical. Suppose your purpose is to create a cleaning company that actually adds value, that is built around relationships with your clients. Nobody is going to understand that need but you. Nobody is going to be able to envision what that needs to look like or that business plan but you. But here's the thing, in identifying your purpose, the real trick to it is monetizing it. I could have loved to teach till I die. If I never learned how to make money from it, nobody would want to hear what I have to say today. If I never learned how to take care of myself from doing that life's work, where would I be? I'd probably be dead. I'd be dead for I'd die of hunger. I'd have been for a long time. Teaching don't make a lot of money. but I came to the table with style, with a different touch. I mean, the first school I opened was called A New Approach. I had a totally new approach to everything. I wanted it to look and feel different. And when my fuel was running out for that purpose at that time, I had to reinvent the wheel. And that's one of the things that we have to be clear on. Purpose evolves, purpose grows. Purpose manifests itself differently, and a lot of times differently based on the energy around you, the people around you. So you always have to check your people. Who are the people who are around you? How do you feel when you're around them? How do you behave when you're around them? And never be afraid to shuffle that deck. There are people who are close to me 5 years ago, 10 years ago that I really don't even talk to now, and I'm good with that. You can call me ungrateful over there, but I picked me and I picked my purpose because maybe the time on our friendship ran out. And because I have to keep reinventing that wheel, that purpose wheel for me, I have to keep pulling on the talents and the support of stronger people, older people, better people than me. So I'm always on the hunt for people, people who are better than me, people who are smarter than me. And I'm the first to say it, and it's something I'm proud of. Of my core group, I'm the dumbest person in that group. I am the poorest person in that group because they're all leaps and bounds ahead of me. When I look at the people that I sit with on a weekly basis, not by choice, no, the people I make time to sit with, the people I make time to connect with, they're building me. They are forcing something out of me that I need. The conversations, the time, that exposure, that mentorship, it forces you to be better, to be a better person. And so you have to be real with that purpose conversation. You can't be living on purpose and you're not making any money and you can't live and take care of yourself. That's a farce. And you have to be careful of the big purpose talk because for a lot of people it's trending. It's not real. They don't even know what their purpose is. If you meet them in real life outside of their social media platform, you'll be so disappointed because it's two different people. And so that's one of the things that I think you have to be careful of who you buy into and why. So I am not a fangirl. I'm raising girls. I am not going to be looking at what you post. I want to look at who you are in the little things. You know, how you treat the guy at the supermarket that is walking out with you. How do you really treat people when I want to see you and I want to have a conversation with you? Because a lot of people, I feel like they wake up and they Google quotes and then they put it there and you meet them and they're empty. There's no substance. They're not living a life buying into what they're saying. And so for me, I'm into total success. So when you meet me, you hear me, I'm this way. When you meet my children, you should say, yeah, yeah, she's like that. Yeah. When you meet my husband, you should say, there, it's you're seeing the synergy, you're seeing everything lining up because it should be one person. It should not be where you meet my children and you're like, but look how she behave like she nice. Look how she go on this and look how she carry herself good and look how the children look. It has to be one brand, one messaging right across the board. And that's what we should strive for. Total success and total representation of those mantras that we profess across the board. That's the game that we need to be playing in. That for me is the big leagues. I tell myself all the time, I may not come from anything, and I'm the first to say it. I don't come from much, but that's another episode. But my children will come from much. And they're going to take up so much space in this world because they're going to go into it being very clear about who they are and what they come from. Because all of that will start at home. Nobody else will have to mix them or anything out there. They will go and know who they are in every space that they enter. That's my goal. That's what I'm working on.
You came
It's a lot.
and you have conquered. My
I was
goodness.
nervous. I was nervous because I know how your questions are.
No, I haven't even been able to ask any because this has just been a cannonball of awesomeness. You are real, you are raw, you give it, you're a straight shooter. I told everybody from the very beginning.
I hope so.
Oh my goodness, hands
Call me
down.
on it if I'm not though. I love those. I love those pull-ups. I love
I
those
I
drink up.
I can tell you as a personal testament to what you have spoken about. I've seen you in action. I have seen the impact of your relatability to children and to adults alike. As we see you in this space, just in this episode, is what I see in person. And thanks be to God that you silenced the naysayers about this thing,
My little teaching thing,
your
huh?
teaching thing, because really and truly, you are an advocate for the youth. Because when you have the ability to impact on their lives and give them a voice and give them a space and have them be heard and not feel invisible because they are just a student. I have seen the impact of your engagement alone on a personal basis with my own child, with my son. And I marveled by even being able to say, how do you do it? And what I have been able to witness from a distance, because I don't sit in a classroom, is that the real raw deal that we heard you utter tonight, it's the same thing that I've actually heard you speak in a space with them where you have said, guys, I have been in your shoe. I felt like I was not seen. I felt like I wasn't heard. I felt like I was in the back of a class, and I would think, envision yourself as invisible, and not being heard affected you. And that's why you have such a compelling drive to raise others from average to amazing. And tonight, you built us up. You really took us to a place, I would say, to the zenith of appreciating that we can move from good to great, from average to amazing, from amazing to exceptional, once we begin to believe in ourselves. I would ask that you do something for me.
Tell me.
I want your biggest cheerleader, Sam McKenzie, has
He's
said,
there. Look at the
speechless,
chat.
speechless, speechless. I want to honor your family, your husband, your children for affording you this time. And the value of family is unquestionable for you. When you look at, when I asked Tamar, what do I say about you? And it's very simple. It said, she said, I'm a proud wife, a proud mother, a lifelong learner. What she does not put in there candidly too is that she's an avid reader. But that speaks to her lifelong learning journey. But assume for me, if you will,
Mhm.
that someone is actually going to catch just 90 seconds of this episode. They have not listened to the entire hour. All they're catching is 90 seconds. Tamar, in one capsule, in one rocket, in one nugget, tell them right now what you want to say for them to take what my mantra is for Real Talk, which includes overcome your limits, own your greatness and purpose. They need you. They're going to be listening to this at 2 a.m. They're clutching on to the value of life, the value of what they think they're here for. You tell them in 90 seconds. If it spills over, that's okay. But you tell them in 90 seconds, I, Tamar, want to share with you that this one life that you've got, you have to overcome your limits and own your greatness and purpose by doing X.
This
Speak.
pressure is real on a Sunday.
Yeah.
So I'll just say what I tell myself, right? And I've told myself this in some very painful, impossible times, and it got me through. So I'll share it. It's not a big thing, it's a little thing, but it gets me there. I know who I am, and I know the God that I serve. And I serve a big God. And I serve a big God who has given me these big dreams because he knows what's to come. So every storm that I face, it's pushing me in the direction of that self-actualization, in that space of achievement. So I just keep going through the storm. And no matter how tough it is, I stay focused on me. So no matter how tough a room is, or no matter what people say about me, I don't care because I am focusing on going through that storm, and I'm going to keep my composure. I'm going to keep my realness because I don't want to confuse my God. I want when I pray and He said, I pray for my angels and He sends them, they can recognize me. And that's my thing. I go through everything as me because I want to stay grounded and I want my success to resemble my core. I don't want a fake success or a short lived success. And from what I've seen and my own due diligence of what's happening in the space around me, success becomes short lived when we didn't work for it or we didn't go through it as our own self. And so when we try to settle in the space, everything becomes uncomfortable and we make poor decisions. So go through it, maintain your belief, know what you're believing in God for. Be very real about that. Don't pray because you want to sound like a certain person. I know my prayers move, and I'm not the biggest. When I pray, it sounds ordinary, but guess what? God knows it's me praying. He knows it's not Kamara or anybody else. He knows it's me, and He knows it's genuine. And I'm confident that He has this big life for me, and nobody's going to take that away from me. Nobody. And no difficulty is going to take that on me. So when you see me turn up for work or anything else, I'm turning up as me, and I'm turning up with that faith that I have. And so things tend to go my way because I'm me. As I've told you this before, you may see, if you follow me on Instagram, you may see something of me. But if you meet me in real life, it's pretty much consistent. I think it is. It may be a little more, it may be a little different, or, but it's me. By essence, it's me. Everything is because I know who I am. Be confident in who you are. And even if you're not confident in who you are, be settled. Be settled that this is who you are, this is what you have, and make peace with that. Don't try to represent what you're not or buy into what anybody else is selling. Work on that belief, work on that relationship, work on that prayer life. That's what's going to take you through it. There are many times when all I have is a prayer, all I have is a tear or a cry, and I give it and I'm real with it and I'm praying in my heart, and that's good. But my God comes through every single time, every single time. And I've said this to you, Marsha-Ann, and I'll say it. I don't pray for God to bless me. I've never been that person because of the hardships that I've been through or the life that I've lived or how I came up. It wasn't something that I really bought into because I thought, God, why are you blessing everybody and not me? And for years, that was my life. I pray for God to give me what I deserve. And I think it's a way better prayer because of the seeds I sow every day in people, in the kids around me, in just trying, not getting it perfect all the time, but just trying. And I feel like because that's my prayer, to be very honest, what I deserve is bigger than the dreams that I have. And that has forced the dreams to keep growing. So That's what I would tell you in 90 seconds or more. I think I've gone more.
I have I have no words.
Wow, I just read the message your mom sent. It's such a privilege. And tell her the help that well, I'll tell you, Mrs. Donaldson, the help that I get from the example you've set in mothering and motherhood and nurturing, it has changed the game. Changed the game for me.
Yeah, it's a family affair here. Wow.
Yeah,
Really
wow.
and truly. Um, you got us. You got us good. This was, you're going to have to read all of the comments. You're going to have to just know that you came, you
I did my
spoke.
best. And I did my
You did
best.
your
I
best.
was nervous this whole time. I was
You did
nervous.
your best. When Daddy was on his last few days, and we said to him, "Hey, what would you want to say to
Hmm.
us and to your grandchildren?" And he said, "Whatever you do well, and just do it consistently well,
Yep,
and that's
that's
it, and that's
that.
your word."
Go in
And
the boat, move with what you have because you will never have. I'm going to say this before you close the show. It's a very quick story. I'll say this to you. People look at the big job now that I'm in and think, wow, we are so lucky. Let me tell you something. The only reason I'm so good at what I'm doing now in this big space that I'm doing it is because of the little leagues I played in first and conquered by doing well. So all of the things I'm doing so well now, it's because I took so seriously what I was doing in an insignificant space. And sometimes the learnings that we get from that, it's so invaluable. So don't count out the little things, the little routines, the part of showing up. Don't count that out. That is critical. You can't teach someone credibility. You can't learn how to be punctual from a course. Nobody teaches you integrity. You build that. Those things are muscles that you have to build by doing little things consistently. Don't count it out. My very first newsletter I've ever created was called Chatterbox. And my tagline, long before it was changing average into amazing, was success is the perfection of detail. That's what we get success from, paying attention to the little things. Get the little things right, the big things fall into play.
so often we overlook the little things. I've had to say
We
to
think it's not
I
important.
just want to
But
get to the
listen,
big things.
I'll share this with you because we're on social media. And many of your viewers are social players, because that's what it is. Not influencers, social players. They're just better at playing that game, right? Every single one of us cringe when we're online and we see a video with someone with a mess, like chaos behind them. And we're like, oh, look, you're not even hearing what they're saying, right? That's because they don't consistently pay attention to the little things. The little things save you all the time. And when it comes to purpose, a lot of times that's those spaces that we carve that create the greatest impact. It's because we're seeing the little things. I'm earning today from something that I shifted into because of paying attention to the little things, doing the little things consistently. Don't sleep on it. Pay attention to it because the best people in every market are the people who stay committed to the littlest detail and they perfect it. They pay attention to it.
I'm warning you. You're coming back when
We'll
the
talk
next
about, we'll talk about something way more
when
messy next time. Way
Oh
more
my
real. Way,
gosh.
way, 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 way more messy.
Let me tell you, this has been an incredible episode. Complete engagement. We're being watched both on Facebook Live as well as on YouTube. And Tamar, you brought it. You brought it down.
Thank
Um,
you.
a strong replay. I ask everyone, like I always do, when we learn something, I find it important that we don't keep what we've learned to ourselves, but instead to share it with others. You have people in your space that need this mid year reminder. How timely is this that you have come to us with 6 months left in the year where you have been able to reignite and reactivate things within us that we know we ought to be doing and to reevaluate and reassess our connection with purpose and really the small but significant things like showing up and showing up consistently and being committed and focusing on the details, right?
And showing
Uh,
up properly.
and showing up
Prepared.
properly, right? Preparedness. And I just know that I speak on behalf of everyone watching. I thank your family for fitting their Sunday evening to afford you time to share with us. But what's most important is that when Tamara and I prayed before we prayed on the episode, one big prayer was, I really pray, and we both pray that someone would be blessed by this episode. And if that's you, please go ahead and drop that comment because it is so important to be able, a big part of our truth is when we're able to say, I need help. This has helped me. I need to dig deeper. Ooh, you hit a pain point. Because, to Tamar's point, so often people are a public success and an internal or private failure because of the spotlight that this life of social media tends to package, or a public success because you've got the degrees, you have the title, you have the job, you have the car. But internally, if you are not whole, you are crumbling in every way, shape, or form. And to be able to say, this has helped me, is your first public confession. And being vulnerable is the biggest strength I have gained, especially in the last 2 years. Because when you speak from your platform of authenticity, your real truth, being vulnerable means, yikes, I've got the courage to tell you. Let me tell you, this is just what I need.
And having
And
the courage to say to yourself too, when you're in a space and you're being drained because of the energy around you, having the courage to tell yourself that just because this person has been a constant, they're not good for me. Having the courage to a total stranger, I mean, we met like that, to say, we really connect. I don't know what this is. We're new to each other, but I love this exchange. And hey, I'm having a bad day. Can we meet up? The last time we met, I felt so much good because so much better because of that. Can we do it again? Just having that sort of realness, because you don't want to refresh yourself with what's convenient or accessible, but what's needed, right? You don't want to. You can't eat the same things from the same food group and think you're gonna grow. It doesn't work like that, especially if you're growing. So if you're on that growth trajectory and you're stepping into other spaces, you have to look at that toolbox that you're carrying and what in that toolbox is just heavy and taking up space that you don't need for that job that you're going to. And then tapping into who's around you or who you're familiar with, that you need some more of that, because I don't think we meet people by chance. I just don't. I think we meet people for experiences, shared exchanges that can be mutually beneficial. So how about tapping into that, tapping into who's around us and really pulling from them? I tell myself this because it's what I grew up hearing. God cannot stay in heaven and bless us in a vacuum. He blesses us through people. The problem is that here are these people around us to bless us, and we sleep on them all the time. We take them for granted. We get caught up in our own mess. We think they're too much. We think this is happening. Oh, they're not going to like me. Oh, they're better than me. Would you want somebody who is not better than you to help you prepare for the next big thing? Or would you want somebody who is better than you at what you are doing or where you are to push you further along? I don't want no apprentice help me. I need the best players in the game. So when I wheel that toolbox out, we're changing the game. We're throwing away that deck and we're coming with our own. That's how I look at it. I don't want no apprentice with me. We're going with that. I don't have no small time opportunities coming in front of me. I don't want no play people. When I come and wheel my deck of people resources, it is so impressive. I tell you, I'm the smallest fish in my pond. I'm so insignificant. But when I look at the sharks that are around me, they feed me, they protect me. And we have to be open to that, to being the smallest in our rooms and not trying to take the stage. It just doesn't work, because then you become another one of what we don't need. The world is so full. When I open Instagram, I feel like everybody pulling out of the same tank. The same thing, right? You don't want that. You just you just pass it. You literally just, here we go again, and flip the script because you're over it. Find you by building you, actively building you. I'm on that. And no matter what I have, it doesn't matter, because I want more and I want to be more. So I'm going to keep challenging that. So next year, if we were to meet, I'm going to sound different.
Yes.
My are going to be totally different, because I'm going to challenge myself for more. I am.
We have a target for ourselves, guys. We really do.
Yeah.
The next level of greatness. We can't be in the same pond with the same fish and expect to have different results. We're the sum total of who we hang with, what we read, what we listen to, what we watch, how we spend our time.
Yep.
And I say choose wisely, because all we have is this one life, and time wasted cannot be regained. Be open to new connections. A lot of us have had the mentality of, I'm only sticking to who I've known and I'm not open to meeting and learning. But that sense of myopia will really have us down such a limited dark tunnel. Now is the time to shift. Now is the time to face yourself in the mirror. This is an episode I would say you replay, close a door, listen with your notebook. You got way more than you expected. I sure did. And ask yourself the tough questions. What do I need to let go of that's holding me back? Who do I need to let go of that's holding me back? What are my personal limiting beliefs that I've held on to that's holding me back? What are the changes that I need to radically make? Where do I need to move from? Where do I need to move to? What does my routine look like? And how is that making my life fulfilled? Lots of questions. And all the answers reside within. Choose your circle, choose it wisely. Put your hand up when you need help. And begin to choose those who will stretch you beyond your limits, stretch you beyond your wildest imagination. Not for people to tickle you and tell you what you want to hear, but for people to push you, genuine people who have your interest at heart. And all your dreams are not meant to be shared. I put caution to the wind. Know who you're talking
Some
to.
dreams are so scary.
Yeah.
We have to write them to ourselves. Not everything you can talk about. But that's okay. Some things, the biggest ones, you won't even be able to put it into words, and that's fine. Just keep chasing that feeling. Keep chasing that fire, guys. That's it.
That's it. Well, we've agreed to move to the next level. Tamar, thank you so much for your time. Everyone, for real, we are signing out now. All of you, do me a favor, share this episode. Drop your comments in the chat. Drop your comments on YouTube. And for anyone that you believe will be blessed, go ahead and share this with them. Tamar, I close out by reminding everyone that Real Talk is a space where I truly believe that we're meant to come together to engage, encourage, and empower one another to ensure that we truly overcome our limits, own our greatness, and ensure that we transform our lives to one of purpose, passion, and prosperity. You subscribe to every ounce of what we believe in on Real Talk. You came, you gave us your true self,
Thank you.
and you are our North Star for today. May you continuously shine, and may your family be blessed to the overflow. And wherever your feet trod and wherever your hands go, that it will be blessed with double and triple and quadruple portion. And may your dreams be materialized, and may they become so big when you sleep tonight that you wake up tomorrow, that the same God that you have asked to guide you, he will show you how to take your life to the next level. I believe in you, and I feel so blessed to have connected with you.
Thank
And
you.
I know that the greatness that's within you will simply ooze out with all those that connect with you. Take care to everyone. Bye, Tamar. Stay on for a quick second. Don't you
Thank
get
you.
disconnected. And I'm telling everyone good night. We're ending this broadcast with a bang, fireworks and all.
Okay.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so very much for watching.